Yes, guys, it is time for our flagship video. We've been doing this trade, target, trade away video basically every week of the season so far for fantasy football, and you guys have absolutely loved it. We have, again, 30, if not 40 players to discuss today from all over the map. Elite players, potentially waiver players, every position, everything in between, who to trade for, who to trade away, and some rest of season rankings mixed in there. So let's just begin with Devon Achane. We will start with the trade fours. We'll start with the running back position. Achane is absolutely a trade for. We look at the total points here. Excuse me, that's the average. We look at the total points here scored so far for fantasy football running backs. He's coming in right here at RB4. Okay, we switch to the average, and this is for half PPR scoring. He's coming in at RB5, and I just don't think yet, right, that he's being valued there. I mean, this is a guy who's in the running, guys, for RB1 overall, especially in PPR. We look at the game log, 16 plus points in every single game so far. Okay, 6 plus targets in 4 of the last 5 games. And he really could go finish RB1 overall, especially if this Dolphins offense just gets a little better. Now, I know that's a reach. I don't think that'll happen, to be honest with you. But what if it does? I mean, it really can't get any worse right now, the vibes around the team. Okay? And we've seen now 2 weeks without Hill, 7 targets, 6 targets for Achane. So especially in PPR, this guy has RB1 overall ceiling. Who would I trade away for him? And when I mention trade away targets for specific players, sometimes it's not a 1-for-1, but who would I look to send plus maybe a low-end flex for Achane, for example? Okay, James Cook, Javonte Williams. Kyron is a very good sell high right now, in my opinion. Okay, you could maybe even package Skattebo in there somehow with, maybe you're super heavy at the wide receiver position. You have a couple, 2 or 3 guys inside that top 36, top 30. Send one of them. Get a flex back in a 2-for-2, okay? The fantasy football community is not yet realizing that Devon Achane's name needs to be rest of season with the names of Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and I still have Jahmyr Gibbs in there, okay? Those are my top 5 at the moment. Now, let's move on here. As I said, going to be all over the map. So Kimani Vidal is a trade for target, in my opinion. Now, I am buying this performance. Okay, we will switch this just to week 6, and we will look at where he finished on the week. He came in at RB8, and this was basically the first quarter, wasn't even his job yet. He was still splitting with Hassan Haskins. So he was so much better than Haskins at getting yards, okay? Being a good football player that they said, here, this is your job. 67% of snaps, that's an elite number. Anytime you see over 70, it's like we used to pray for times like this, okay? So with Vidal, if he comes out against Indianapolis, sees 70% of snaps, I mean, he's going to be top 15, top 16, top 18, dare I say, spike weeks of top 10 like we saw in week 6. For basically the remainder until Amari Hampton returns. Now, they said it's going to be longer than 4 games, so count with me here. Here's 1 game in week 6, 2, 3, 4 would be week 9. If it's going to be longer than 4, does that mean 1? Okay, so he misses. He comes back week 11, the week before the bye? Probably not. So you're looking at Hampton out, probably, not a doctor. This is not a medical analysis, just a bye week thought. You're looking at Hampton coming back probably at week 13, which gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more weeks of Kimani Vidal. Okay, maybe you sell him week 11, you get some value back before Hampton comes back in week 13. And like I said, he's a rock solid RB2, low-key matchup proof because the offense is so good, because he's going to catch passes, 4 targets, caught 3 of them. All right. And like I said, RB8 and half PPR here last week. Now, I'm actually going to change this just to PPR because we're looking at PPR over here on Sleeper. It doesn't change too much. It just keeps my brain on the same page. But like I said, in week 6, Bijan Robinson, Rico Dowdle, Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, Skattebo, Swift last night, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor. These were some guys who had some better PPR games. And then in half PPR, Vidal was RB8 in week 6. So I really like it. At this point, based off what he did, I don't really expect them to go sign someone like, they're probably not going to, they said Alvin Kamara is not leaving. I don't expect a huge signing. If they sign someone, it'll probably just be like a depth piece, maybe a complimentary piece, okay? Like maybe Tony Pollard, I don't know. That would kind of be a big signing, but I just don't expect it based off what he did. They got the win and some nice matchups coming up. You can smack Minnesota around on the ground. Tennessee is the worst run defense in the league, arguably. We saw Pittsburgh get beat on the ground. So Jacksonville, that's how you beat them. So there's some good matchups coming and low-key matchup proof, like I said. All right, who would I trade away for him rest of season? Let's just look at some names. And these are going to be interesting names, okay? I might just switch this back to half PPR now because most of you guys use that. I will. Okay. Who would I trade away for him? Thinking. Like Ken Walker. So Ken Walker, I'm going to need you to go from my team for Vidal plus, okay? Rachaad White, an expiring very good asset, okay? Trade that for Kimani Vidal, get 5 more weeks. Okay, Tony Pollard, expiring. Tyjae Spears is here. Give me Vidal plus, all right? Those are some names. Now, we got to start rapid firing these because, like I said, that's like 2 players. It's been 5 minutes. We have like 40 to go, and it's not that deep for some of these guys. Ashton Jeanty, we're right back to the elites. Right now, ranks RB11. I can almost guarantee you he will be finishing higher than RB11 on the year. That's basically it. Season high 23 carries, 27 opportunities, season high, okay, against Tennessee. Got in the end zone. That Simmons guy, okay, I don't know if you heard of him. On the Titans, very good, only 3.26 a carry. Notice how it doesn't matter. 16.6 PPR points, 14.6 and a half against Tennessee. Skattebo, you're gone for Jeanty. Kyren Williams, goodbye. James Cook for Jeanty plus. These are the type of moves I want to make. Javonte for Jeanty, even though I like Javonte. Maybe we talk about him in a minute. Tyjae Spears, next guy. Maybe he's on waivers in your league. He absolutely should not be. I'll bring you back last year to the fantasy football playoffs, weeks 15 through 17. Now, Pollard was out / banged up. All right, there's a lot of possibility. Maybe Pollard gets traded. Maybe Pollard gets hurt again. He tends to do that. We saw these games here, 15 through 17 last week. He was a top 5 running back, Tyjae Spears. In PPR, 27 points, 21 points, 13 points. In that span, it was like Taylor and Gibbs were really the only 2 guys that were that much better than him. He comes in week 6, his second game, 59% of snaps. Look how long it took him to reach 59% of snaps last year. Look, he did it twice, week 16 and 17. He's doing it in his second game back, which is basically his first healthy game this year. So Callahan is out. The coaching staff is changing. I'm not too worried about it. Maybe they favor the better player in Tyjae Spears, and he is better than Tony Pollard. Okay, Javonte Williams is a buy. This is a very simple one. He had a terrible game in week 6. The Carolina rush defense is actually pretty good. Gets Washington at home. We just saw what Swift did to them. I think a major bounce back. Then we have a revenge game against Denver. Then we have Arizona. So the schedule's very good. Week 10 bye week. 8 targets was a season high. 8 targets, guys. And, only translates to 8.4 PPR points. So with Javonte, he's sitting at RB5 on the season. I'm sending Kyren for Javonte. I'm sending Skattebo for Javonte. I'm sending, some way, Dowdle, Etienne, Monty, all these players. Derrick Henry, goodbye. Hampton on IR, goodbye, right? And again, it's not a 1-for-1. It's just things I want to be thinking about. Can I get that deal done? Can I replace in my starting lineup Henry with Javonte? And if it costs me my wide receiver 4 on the bench, it costs me $50 a fab. I'm doing it, right? I'm doing it. Okay. Very similar vein here is Quinshon Judkins. He ranks right now on the season pretty low. Now, I will change this to week 3, okay? Week 3 through 6, because that's when he's been playing. Let's see where he's coming in at. Where are you? He's coming in at RB15. I think that's his floor. I think he's finishing well above that. David Montgomery, goodbye for Judkins. Again, Kyren Williams, goodbye. Even, him and Javonte really are back-to-back for me in the rankings. RB11, RB12. Quinshon has the matchup versus Miami this week, but then at New England, right? And then the bye. So 2 of the next 3 are, one's not playable. One is not a great matchup. One is a very good matchup. Skattebo for Judkins. We're making that trade, okay? And again, this is just a very easy buy low off of one bad game. We will talk about an elite candidate here. I will put this back to the entire season. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had his worst game in years, okay? We look at our RB leaders through the season so far. JT, McCaffrey, Bijan. I'll stop it there. Okay, those are the only guys who I would consider in the same tier as Gibbs. Honestly, I don't even consider JT there yet. I call me insane, but I need 1 or 2 more games. Right now, JT is my RB4. I'm not sold on the Colts. I know it's been 6 weeks. I just don't think for 17 games, this is perfect, right? Whereas these other guys are trending essentially upwards. Gibbs is going to start trending upwards. You saw 19 opportunities. There's nothing to worry about, 69% of snaps. It seems like Monty gets in there a lot. He does. The offense is so good that it doesn't matter. There are tough games where the team has to throw a lot, and the offense doesn't move as well. What games like that do I see where they might lose on the schedule? Week 11 at Philly, that's really it. Week 13 Green Bay, but they're at home, and that's it. So you maybe have 2 more games here. You have Tampa Bay Monday night. You have Minnesota at home, out of the bye. Like, I'm just telling you right now, Jahmyr Gibbs might be the number 1 buy. He might come out of this bye week and honestly start at week 7 and just start dropping 25 a game. And if that's the case, I don't know who I want more than him in PPR at the running back position. McCaffrey, Bijan, maybe JT, okay, as I said. And that's the top 3. That's the top 4 with Gibbs in there and then Achane at 5, as I mentioned to start the show. Got to be trying to get these elite players. The final running back is TreVeyon Henderson. Again, 11 opportunities. I think Rhamondre had like 12, maybe 13. It's very close. Henderson's not doing much on the ground. 30% snaps, only 3 a carry. He's not looking awesome. Just give him some time. I want him on my team. I want to bench him. You can be sending wide receiver 3s for him at this point. People are ready to drop him. So I would get him and I would stash him. If we start to see some life against Cincinnati, the Giants in weeks 12 and 13, the bye in week 14, you could definitely roll him out there in week 15. Rhamondre is a guy we've seen get banged up in the past. All right, moving on. This is basically the Jahmyr Gibbs, okay, of 2024 at the wide receiver position. We will start with Jackson Smith and Jigba here for the wide receivers. Now, Puka got injured, and that's a thing with Puka. Like, that's a big reason why I had him ranked super high to start the year. He was like a top 6 player with me to start the offseason. And then we saw the Matthew Stafford injury, right? And then I was like, well, Stafford could get injured. Puka tends to get injured. So I just dropped him to the back of the first. And I had him as the best value in the first. Him and McCaffrey was between them. Facts, okay? But we look at injury risk. We look at offense. You know, the top 3 guys really are Puka, JSN, and St. Brown. Pickens will regress, in my opinion, once Ceedee comes back. He's not going to be top 5. But it is Puka, JSN, and St. Brown. Those 3 are the top 3 clear wide receivers. You can make the case for all of them. St. Brown is in the best offense. St. Brown has the most touchdown upside. JSN's probably going to see the most consistency, the least injury risk, for example, even though Amon-Ra doesn't miss games, but Puka has those ceilings. So it's a wild bag between those 3. And I would be paying very high. Like I said, if you have any wide receiver, not named Puka, not named Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'd be sending them for JSN. Obvious, doesn't need to be said. Tetairoa McMillan got in the end zone twice last week, coming in on the year at wide receiver 21. I think he's going to finish well inside the top 18. Okay, so he's a guy I want to be buying. Bryce Young looks pretty good. We have the Jets, easy matchup. We have Buffalo. We just saw what Drake London did to them last night. At Green Bay is tough, but then New Orleans. At Atlanta, not that great. At San Fran, could be high scoring. Then the Rams at home. So it's a mixed bag for the schedule, but then the playoffs are just so good. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and then Seattle at home could be tough. But that New Orleans and Tampa Bay game, out of the bye, he might just dominate. So if you're a winning team, this is a guy I want on my roster. Absolutely. 8+ targets in every single game, but 1 gets Sauce Gardner this week. Let's see how it plays out. But yes, top 18 guy. Who would I be sending for him? DK Metcalf, goodbye. Courtland Sutton, maybe. I view them back to back. Michael Pittman, Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers. Get rid of these guys for McMillan, okay? Brian Thomas comes in and he is just skyrocketing up the rankings after his best game of the season. 10 targets, 8 catches, got into the end zone. Not once, actually twice, and the second one got called back, okay? With Brian, I think he's a top 20 wide receiver rest of season, and currently, obviously, coming in at wide receiver 24, a lot of the same guys I would trade away for Brian Robinson that I would for McMillan, including, Metcalf, Pittman, Keenan, Zay. In terms of McMillan versus Brian, it's tough. I think I lean McMillan, okay? Next up, we have Matthew Golden, a bit of a cheaper target here, and he's just had, honestly, he just looks the part. Like, just watching him on the field, I'm like, damn, I'm like, man, I'm bothered by it. Like, get this guy any QB, like any offense other than the Packers, where they have to throw it to 15 receivers in order for their game to count, okay? You get any other offense where he would see 8-9 targets a game. My goodness, this man is insane. So I love the talent. You got Arizona next week. It's kind of tough. Pittsburgh's fine. Carolina, Philly, Giants. The schedule is good. And I would be looking to buy him on the low for flex price. A.J. Brown comes in. Now, there's a lot of turmoil here. I called A.J. Brown the worst pick of the second round for this offseason. I had him into the third round, and then got screamed at, by the way, for saying JSN was a better pick than A.J. Brown. Let's just take a moment. No, I'll take one moment. I need a sip of my coffee anyway, so I'll take a moment. Literally screamed at Daly for saying A.J. Brown shouldn't be in the top 24 picks and JSN should be in the top 16. Okay, I'm done. Now, and I don't get everything right, by the way, but sometimes. Anyway, you would think the sky is falling with A.J. Brown, and you watch the film, it doesn't look good. The offense doesn't look good. 2 straight losses, right? All I see from fantasy, 8+ targets in the last 5 games. That's really all I see. He catches 5, he catches 6. Excuse me. He's not killing you. I want him as a wide receiver 2 for my team. I think you can buy him as a flex for your team. We look where he's sitting, total points on the year. It's way down here. Wide receiver 40. I really think he's going to finish higher than wide receiver 40. This is not groundbreaking stuff. Who would I be sending for him? His own teammate, Smith, Diggs. Okay, I prefer A.J. Brown. Let me just think real quick. Wan'Dale Robinson, obviously. McMillan, I would... those are pretty similar. But Zay Flowers, I prefer Brown. Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf. Right, these are some guys I'd prefer A.J. Brown over. Deebo Samuel, right? We're just looking at the total points here on the year. So I think it'll turn around. If it doesn't, and he's still getting 8 targets per game, I'm not that mad about it. Honestly, you got to ignore the real life media and the real life turmoil. Separate it for fantasy now. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we talked about him with JSN. Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra. No order, rest of season. Okay. Any other wide receiver, I'd be trading for this guy after a bad game. He dropped a ball. Can almost guarantee you he's dropping 40 points against Tampa Bay week 7. Can almost guarantee you. Okay. You get Davante Adams, and he's a buy for me as well here. Only 3 touchdowns on the year. Hasn't scored in 2 weeks against Jacksonville. Can almost guarantee he's going to have a really nice game after somewhat of a disappointing game. His second to worst game since week 2. He had here in, it was actually his worst game of the season. My bad, I was looking at week 5, but yeah, actually his worst game of the season against Baltimore. They didn't really need him. But yeah, you got Puka banged up. There's a chance that Adams has to lead this wide receiver room for a week or 2, right? And matchup against Jacksonville is good. Then you get the bye, so he's going to get nice and healthy. New Orleans, San Fran, Seattle, Tampa Bay, these are all good matchups. He's used in the red zone. He looks the part, still looks like he's in his prime, so I'd be getting Davante. Who would I be trading away? Deebo Samuel, Quinton Johnston. I like Quinton, but I'd prefer Adams. Waddle, okay? Probably Courtland Sutton, Keenan Allen. These are some guys I'd be moving for Davante. We have Stefon Diggs as a buy low. Now, I want to look into this utilization a bit more. I'm not really sure why, only 59% of snaps, only 3 targets. He had a massive call. He had a massive catch called back. It was like a 50-yard catch down the sideline called right back. So this is actually a bigger score than it looks. This should be 11 or 12 points here, but I don't understand why I'm looking at 50% of snaps last week and then 59. I got to look more into that. But if you can get Diggs as a flex, I don't mind that at all. I do not mind that at all, especially with Tampa Bay, the Jets, Cincinnati coming up, the Giants on this schedule here. I do not mind it. Buffalo again in week 15. My goodness gracious. Buffalo again, then Baltimore, then the Jets. So there's a lot to like here with Stefon Diggs, and he is definitely a good buy low candidate after that crappy game, if you will. Okay, let's move on now to, we have a couple more. Now, I've been saying Sutton is kind of like a trade away guy in a lot of these deals, but I am actually buying him. And that's a good example of how players can be both a buy and a sell. All depends who you're getting, who you're giving, what the scenario is, all right? So Courtland Sutton had his worst game of the year. I should say second to worst game of the year, but in terms of targets, only 3. It was just a very weird game against the Jets. Very odd. Like when you play the Jets, dude, it's just not a typical game. Like they are actually so bad that it makes the other team bad because the game environment for fantasy, because the game environment is so awful. But with Courtland, he is still the wide receiver 1 on this team. 80% of snaps, I can almost guarantee it, led all wide receivers. You watch the game, he's out there on every single important play. If it's a clear running play or something, he's not out there when only other tight ends are, all right? Or like wide receiver 5 on the team for some gadget stuff. But Courtland Sutton remains a top 15 wide receiver for me. DK Metcalf, you can leave for Sutton. Zay Flowers, guys like this. I think those are some 3 good names. Marvin Harrison, DeVonta Smith. Get rid of these guys for Sutton. Deebo Samuel, give me Sutton. Okay. Jalen Waddle, give me Sutton. And then back to the elite category. We mentioned these top 3 wide receivers a couple times. Right here at number 4, rest of the season is Ceedee Lamb. And honestly, he'll be right in that top 3, top 4 for the rest of the year, if not top 2, top 1. He's coming back. Week 7 gets Washington. Enjoy the show. Honestly, enjoy the show. Pat Surtain in week 8. It'll be a battle. You don't love it, but we need to be trading for Lamb. There's those top 3 receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, Puka Nacua. We have Lamb right now at number 4. Any other receiver, go trade for Lamb. Okay, into the tight end position. He's been a buy now for a couple weeks, but yes, it is Brock Bowers. If you are 6-0, 5-1, 4-2, even 3-3, trade for Bowers. The tight end landscape, guys, is very good right now for streamers. We have, Harold Fannin, we have Cade Otton, we have Michael Mayer. Okay, if you can just pick him up, go get Bowers. There's a lot of good guys. Evan Ingram, like Zach Ertz, a lot of good streaming tight ends. You can afford to wait 2 weeks on Bowers, I promise you, especially if you have a winning record or you're 3-3. You get him now, you wait on Kansas City, you wait through the bye, he's fully healthy and just starts to dominate here. Okay, weeks 9 through the end of the season. He had 1 healthy game, guys, 8 targets, 5 catches, 15 points. You see Mayer dominating here for Geno Smith, and Brock Bowers is a guy we just need to be buying. Seriously. Now, these tight end targets are kind of no-brainers. Trey McBride, I don't know. There's no one safer at the position. I would sell basically everyone at the position for Trey McBride other than Bowers. Tyler Warren is breaking out. I want to be buying these elite tight ends. I feel like the key to a championship run is having that tight end where you can just line him across from literally anybody, right? You're looking at like a high-end wide receiver too. They got to battle your tight end on the other side of your matchup. Those are some things I like to target. George Kittle's coming back. Actually wouldn't send too much for Kittle, but he's a top 5 guy rest of season. We mentioned Fannin as a streamer. He's a fine trade for target, but if you don't get him, whatever, you can always stream off the waivers, but he's just been crushing it lately with the utilization. Okay. Then into the QBs, I have 2 targets, Sam Darnold and Bo Nix. Darnold is really trending upwards. We saw some BS with Jalen Milroe, in week 3 and things like that. And he comes in for a player 2 at a time, but we're not seeing that anymore. All right. The bye in week 8 and then good matchups after that. Washington, Arizona, Rams. That's kind of stinky, but Tennessee, Minnesota, we like those. That Minnesota revenge game at home. I think he's a middle of the road QB2. Okay. And Bo Nix, I still think can finish, as that QB1. Very odd game versus the Jets. But since week 2, 2 games over 21 fantasy points, had another 17-point game in there at Philly. So it's just been weird. You get the Giants, then Dallas. I think he's going to really rebound here and finish as a top 12 QB. I still do believe that. All right. We got into some sell high / trade away candidates. Now, I will preface this by saying, and we will rapid fire these because they're a bit less important, right, than the trade for guys. But I will preface this by saying, if you have a player in this section, right, I mention your player's name and he's on your roster, do not quit your day job to get rid of him. It's not that deep. Okay. Unless I tell you it is, which maybe, but for the most part, as I said before, players are both a buy and a sell. Rico is our first sell high, but he could also be a buy if you're just looking for some RB depth, a guy to put on your bench for now, see if he's the main guy still. And that's all. That's the question. We don't know if Rico is going to remain the RB1. My guess, given that Chuba is the team captain, okay, given that Chuba has looked good and been productive and a good player for the Panthers, I don't think it's going to be the Rico show continuing when Chuba returns. Dowdle's coming in at RB12 on the season. Who are some guys I would like over him rest of season? Who would I trade him for? Obviously, there's these elite guys, but ETN, I would prefer ETN. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, right? Breece Hall. We just moved down the line. Quinshon. I feel like that's a good place to stop. Those are some names I would send Rico for, just because I'm not sure, and I'm willing to take that risk. If Rico comes out, remains the lead running back, those guys I just mentioned can compete with him on a basis where I don't feel like I just got absolutely killed in the trade. Skattebo's coming in at RB10 right now. There's a lot of hype around Skattebo. Good player, okay, but better in half PPR than PPR. If you have him in PPR, I'm looking to sell him for a top 12 running back. He's coming in at Cam Skattebo, or He's coming in at RB10 right now, ahead of guys like Jeanty, Saquon, okay, Etienne, Henry, Hampton even. Like, I'm looking to move Skattebo for these guys in some sort of package, replace Skattebo with them in my starting lineup. Only 2 targets in 2 of the last 3 games. Saw 7 targets in week 5, but Tyrone Tracy, even though it doesn't seem like his role is that crushed due to Tracy returning, Tracy's going to get targets, okay? Skattebo only had 2 in week 6, had an awesome game. He's a monster on the ground. There's no denying it, okay? But 2 rookies at the helm, Dart and Skattebo, are they really going to go to Denver, to Philly again, then play San Fran at home, then at Chicago, then Green Bay, then Detroit? Are they really going to go? Then at New England? Are they really going to do that for 2 months straight and dominate? I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking to bail out on Skattebo, get a true top 12, top 15 running back. Rachaad White, obviously a great start this week in week 7 against Detroit, but once Bucky comes back, 50-50 at best, you can kind of cash in on him for some guys similar to Skattebo. For example, I would actually take Skattebo for Rachaad White. We just talked about selling Cam. I would prefer him to White. So that's a perfect example of how guys can be both a buy and a sell, and how we work our way up the ladder. You trade White for Skattebo. You trade Skattebo for Etienne. Etienne has a great game. You trade him for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry dominates after the bye. You trade him for Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty hits his true rookie breakout. There's no better running back in the fantasy playoffs. Do you understand this game? Okay, this is how you work the ladder. Now, Rachaad White, like I said, great start in week 7, maybe week 8 if Bucky's out, but that would be 4 games for Bucky, so I don't anticipate him being out because he would have been on IR. Okay, looking at cash out on White for some top 12 guys at the position. Etienne, he's not top 12, but you know what I mean. Etienne, Henry, even Swift, basically anybody in that starting role after this week. Alvin Kamara is one of those guys I want off my roster. He might be the first and only one today. I want him off my roster. If they have a good matchup, you got to worry about Taysom Hill coming in at the goal line. They said they're not going to trade him. That's fine. I doubt that he's, seeing 20 plus targets, 20 plus opportunities more than 2 or 3 times again this year. You have Kendre Miller, always a threat. Taysom Hill coming in. There's just too much going on here. I'm out on Alvin Kamara, and I want just good RB2s in return. Quinshon Judkins, Jaylen Warren, would prefer him, okay? Zach Charbonnet plus a good flex, a wide receiver 2 for Kamara, yeah, maybe. Trey Benson coming back, Aaron Jones plus coming back. These are types of guys I want for Kamara. We move into our wide receiver sell highs, and again, we have George Pickens on the list, but he's absolutely dominating. He just comes in right now at wide receiver 3 on the season. You look at this game log, and I just don't think that continues when Lamb comes back. Who would I take over Pickens rest of season? Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Abuka. Like, that's an interesting trade. Send Pickens for Abuka, even though he's hurt, right? That's an interesting one. Jahmyr, yes, I would prefer Jahmyr. Rome, Quentin Johnston. Okay, these are some names. Drake London for sure. So I'd be selling Pickens for those guys. Our next wide receiver is Chris Olave. A lot of the same things I talked about with Alvin Kamara apply here, where you get down the field, you have a great matchup, everything's great, right? Bam, Taysom Hill in your face, and he's running it in. It's a problem. Like, if that happens once or twice a game, even if it doesn't work, it's an absolute problem. We also have Chris Olave rumored to be traded to the Giants, so if he gets traded, you kind of lose him for a week where he adjusts to the offense and stuff. How good is Jackson Dart? Is he just another Wandale 2.0? I want him off my team, honestly. Give me Nico Collins for him. Give me Brian Thomas. Give me McMillan. Give me these guys. Keenan Allen. Give me Sutton, right? You can make these moves. All right, T. Higgins comes up next. He had a nice game here, 8 targets with Flacco, caught 5 of them. His best game, basically, in terms of targets and volume and all that good stuff since week 2. It's time to get out. Get out for a wide receiver 2 while you still can. Would I take Olave over Higgins? Yes, just mentioned selling Olave. I'd prefer him to Higgins. Ladd McConkey, Marvin Harrison, DeVonta Smith? No, I'd prefer Higgins to Smith. A.J. Brown for Higgins? Yes. Get rid of Higgins. I'm not buying into Flacco season long. All right, Xavier Worthy. We have Rashee Rice coming back. Worthy's last full game here. We told you to sell him in week 5. And last full game here in week 6, without Rice, only 4 targets, got in the end zone. You can still sell him. You can still sell him for wide receiver 2s. A lot of these names we've been talking about. Zay Flowers, honestly, give me Zay. And I don't like Zay at all. Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman, Courtland Sutton. You can get these type of names for Xavier Worthy, most likely. DeVonta Smith, right? We're buying AJB. We're selling Smith. Smith has looked good since week 3, 20 points in week 3, but then 5. Back up to 20 in week 5, but then 9. So this is the roller coaster with Smith. Any single time he has a good game, you must get him off your team for high-end flex. It's a roller coaster every single year. We look at the game logs. Look at this game log. 20 points, 18 points. Oh my God, he's the best wide receiver 2, top 20. Nope. 3 points in week 10, 6 in week 11, right? This is just what he does. It's just what he does. We can go through the entire career. I'm good on Smith. He's a worse Say Flowers with the inconsistency. Now, Garrett Wilson, we had him on the list before the injury, and I've been telling you to sell him for 2 or 3 weeks now. Justin Fields is awful. You saw the great game week 1 from Justin Fields. Awesome. You saw the awful game in week 2. Then Tyrod comes in, right, in week 3, and you're like, oh my God, Garrett Wilson's so good. Then you have against Miami, against Dallas, he does pretty well. It's Miami and Dallas, brother. Then here comes the clamp from Pat Surtain, 4.3 points in PPR, should have been off your team. And now it's too late because he's injured, because Justin Fields throws him hospital balls. So yeah, if you can get out for wide receiver 2 price, get out. And my rest of season rankings are available in the Discord for all these players in this range, okay? Michael Pittman is similar. We have Josh Downs emerging. We have Alec Pierce. We have A.D. Mitchell. We have Tyler Warren emerging. We have Daniel Jones doing it with his legs. We have Jonathan Taylor. It's like the Eagles light where you don't know who's going to score every single week, all right? And it's just going to lead to inconsistency, honestly. I mean, 6 targets. He has 5 targets, 6 targets, and 6 targets in 3 of his 6 games played. It's not enough for wide receiver 1 levels. Now, then you get 8, you get 10, right? But then you get 3 in week 6. It's just not enough. He's a fine flex. That's it. If you can cash out for wide receiver 2s, do it. Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, Chris Olave. These are names I want for Pittman. We'll get into the tight ends. Dallas Goedert. Basically, here's what I need you to do at the tight end position. If you don't have Bowers, McBride, or Warren, or Kittle, those 4 guys, or Ferguson, okay? We're going to talk about him as a sell high, actually. But if you don't have one of those 5 guys, I need you to go get them. It's very simple. You need one of them. Bowers, McBride, Warren, Ferguson. And who's the 5th guy? Kittle. If you don't have, that's 5. That's 5. If you're in a 10-man league, half the teams have one of those guys. That's the tight end position. I just solved the riddle for you. You need to go get one. So Dallas Goedert, Sam LaPorta, Tucker Kraft. You guys need to get off my team for one of those 5 tight ends any way possible. Any way possible. Those are the 3 sell highs I have at the tight end position. We have Jake Ferguson in here because I'd be flipping Ferguson for Bowers and McBride. Bowers or McBride, I should say. Not Warren. Bowers or McBride. Bowers or McBride are the type that can come in and just dominate your opponent's wide receiver 1. Ferguson has been that guy, but we have Ceedee Lamb coming back. I do think the targets are going to come back down to earth. We only saw 3 in week 6. He caught the touchdown. Awesome. They play Washington, right? Not a bad matchup, but yeah. Now, in terms of Drake May, I have him as a sell high, but he's awesome. We look at the guys averaging 20 plus points here on the year. Daniel Jones, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jalen Hurts, Baker, Dak, Josh Allen, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes. If I can trade Drake May for Mahomes, Lamar, or Allen, I'm doing it. I think you can do that. He's like the Pickens of the QB position, except I expect him to finish top 6, top 8, if not top 5. But yes, I prefer Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and most likely Hurts. And I think you can make those trades right now. If not, enjoy Drake May. And with Jordan Love, I actually don't know why he is on the sell high. Yeah, this guy's more of actually a buy. With Jordan Love, already had his bye week in week 5. It didn't have to do too much against Cincinnati with Josh Jacobs dominating, right? And the schedule's fine. Arizona, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Philly, the Giants, like a good offense, good weapons. I would actually be buying Jordan Love. He should not be in this section. And we will talk real quick about Caleb Williams because honestly, it's not a episode on the show unless I don't bring up my guy for the season, my number 1 player who I told everyone to draft. This is my number 1 guy. And yeah, I just read you the list of quarterbacks averaging over 20 points. Daniel Jones, I don't think that lasts. Caleb Williams, Drake May, I think those 2 last. Jalen Hurts, Baker, Dak, Allen, Lamar, Mahomes. Okay? So he is top 8 rest of season, and I don't think he's valued there yet. He's not valued there yet. So I'd be going to look and buy Caleb Williams. Those were 2 cheeky QB buys in the sell portion of the show. But guys, that's going to do it for the show today. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for the support. Good luck.